Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 8th episode of the Gabriel Al-Salem Foundation's live series, Consulting Without Borders Perspectives, in which we feature prominent international consultants and experts engaging in work related to global challenges, those who promote professional excellence and help build a sustainable future for all of us. Today is October 1st. Please let me know where you're tuning in from and how you feel today. My name is Victoria Olska. I'm president of Gabriel Al-Salem Foundation. I'm here today broadcasting live from Florida. We just had a really bad hurricane that came to our state. Luckily, I'm in the area where there was not much impact, but a lot of other people on the West Coast and Central Florida were severely affected. There are damages, so this is quite, devastating, very sad for many people. So I hope I know that there are things happening all around the world. I hope things are not too bad where you are now. Please let us know where you are tuning in from, how you feel this morning, this day, or this evening. I see some greetings coming in. There was Dilara greeting us from Dinara from Lawrence, Kansas. There was also Otto from Costa Rica. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching us. I'm being helped today by Anya Al-Salem, who is joining us from the Netherlands and who is helping with the technical side of this live stream. Again, my name is Victoria Olskaya. I am president of Gabriel Al-Salem Foundation, a US-based nonprofit organization which works internationally and which has a mission to create connections, promote excellence, and build a sustainable future. We are now broadcasting live on Facebook, on the foundation's page, as well as on a couple other pages on Facebook. We're also live on Twitter and on YouTube, as well as on LinkedIn. So wherever you're tuning us from, please put a like so that more people can see us and join us today or perhaps in the future, as we're broadcasting on the first day of each month. Please also don't forget to let us know where you're tuning from as we are progressing with our broadcast and bring our guests. You will be able to also make comments and ask questions directly in the comments of the social media that you are joining in from. Our today's guest is joining us from Almaty, Kazakhstan. Valentina Grigoryeva is a certified management consultant specializing in organizational development, corporate strategy, and management and personnel growth. She has worked as a management consultant since 2003 and implemented over 60 consulting projects and hundreds of trainings in Central Asia and in many other countries. Valentina is a longtime friend of our foundation. As some of you may know, Gabriel Al-Salem, whose name we carry and who keeps inspiring our work, had very close ties with Kazakhstan, where he worked for many years, and in the past 10 years of his life, he was director of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development's Business Advisory Services program in Central Asia. In this capacity, Gabriel made an enormous contribution to the development of the consulting industry in Kazakhstan and in other Central Asian countries. Kazakhstan is also the country where Gabriel tragically died in a paragliding accident in 2010. After his death, the International Council of Management Consulting Institutes, CMC Global, it's called now, awarded him an honorary title of a member of the Meridian Order for his pioneering work in developing consulting in Central Asia. And I actually have here this certificate, which you probably cannot see very well, but this is the award that Gabriel received from the International Council of Management Consulting Institutes. I should have prepared a better photograph, but here it is. I have it. So Valentina was one of the very first certified management consultants who got their certification with Gabriel's help. In fact, she was one of 3 management consultants. In 2010, she became also one of the founders of Kazakhstan Chamber of Management Consultants, CMC Kazakhstan, and has been serving as chairman of the Professional Development Committee and was one of the board members of this organization since then. She is also serving as an expert assessor for CMC certification. Welcome, Valentina. Welcome. Hi. And thank you so much for joining us today. I just decided to give a little bit of a background describing how many years we've known each other, how many years you've already worked as a consultant. So welcome. Thank you again. So good to have you here. It's incredible how many years have passed and how much has been done.
Yeah, thank you, Vika, for inviting me. I'm really appreciated and so glad to be on this broadcast. Thank you for inviting.
Yeah, as I just said, you've been a very active member. In fact, one of the founders of the Kazakhstan Chamber of Management Consulting of Management Consultants, CMC Kazakhstan, since 2010. But I know that you started working as a consultant in 2003. So how was it to be a consultant then? Can you please share your personal story of becoming a consultant in Kazakhstan and how you grew to be one of the founders and leaders of CMC Kazakhstan?
Yeah, that's true. In 2003, I just I was just an HR manager in different companies, and I left a company in 2003 and decided that I'm not going to be employed anymore because it's a bit boring. It's probably not my way, and I decided that I need to do my practice, my own practice. At that time, it was quite difficult because nobody knew what is consulting, what is management consulting, and I just kind of worked with several companies. I just was helping them to implement HR systems. Of course, most of them were interested in pay and remuneration system. And one of my clients, they at one of the meeting, they said, "Oh, you are a management consultant, probably." I said, I like this. Let me be a management consultant." And that actually how I started calling myself management consultant. But of course, we didn't have any information, any clue of what is management consulting. And in 2005, I remember that European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, they invited us. I don't even know how did they found us, but they invited us for a meeting, and that was Gabriel. And he said, "Hi guys, you, as I know you are doing consulting for different companies, why don't you join our database of consultants?" And I was really surprised that this kind of organization exists, and they help companies, small and medium-sized companies, to hire consultants, and they cover some fees. And that was quite interesting. I said, yes, okay, I will definitely join because I have some finished projects in my portfolio. And that's how I met Gabriel for the first time. Later in 2008, EBRD, for us,
European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, yeah.
For us, it was Gabriel, in fact. He initiated a course for consultants, and that was a training for trainers. And he invited 2 experts from IMC UK. They came and prepared a very nice course for us. That was the first course on management consulting, which I actually went through. and that was Calvert Markham and Robert Fontaine, and they did it just perfectly. We realized that, now we can call ourselves consultants, because we now can compare our practice with what people all around the world call consulting. So we decided that this is the same way, we use the same methods, we do the same practice, and we became probably a little bit more confident in what we do. And since that time, we cooperated closely with EBRD. And since that time, I think that me myself at least, I became more confident in what I do, and started calling myself management consultant and started preparing for certification.
Yes, and I know that you were one of the very first certified management consultants in Kazakhstan. In fact, I remember how it all happened. There were, three of you, right? You, Valentina, then our dear Gulsum and Galina, and with the help of Gabriel, you got ready, and then you went to the ICMCI meeting
in Jordan.
Jordan, that's right. And that's where you had your exam, and that's where you became certified. And that was already in 2010.
Yes. At that year, again, thanks to Gabriel, he was, I think he was a great leader, first of all, because he was able to realize that three of us will be able to go through this process. And he actually made his choice, I would say so, because he invited a lot of consultants. At that time, maybe 10 or even more. He suggested that, hey guys, there is a professional certification. Why don't you go through that? That will make you stronger. That will make you, to go through some steps in your professional development. But it happened so that only three of us, Gulsum Akhtamberdieva, Galina Artyukhina, and me, myself, we decided to take this challenge and to go through the certification. But in fact, three of us, we didn't know each other. We just met first time in EBRD, and we three of us were from absolutely different areas, different companies, and different, of course, we did have different views, and it was quite difficult to come close to each other. But when we went to the conference, to ICMCI conference in Jordan, Gabriel also was with us. He helped us a lot to get prepared for the certification, because that was the first time for me particularly to go through the professional certification, and the process itself was not that easy. But he was so supportive. He was so optimistic about us. He actually believed in us, maybe even more than we ourselves. And he said, "You will do it. Who else? If not you, then who else?" And actually, thanks to him, we successfully passed all the exams, all the steps, and when we got certified, he suggested, why don't we organize an institute in Kazakhstan, association. And I remember that evening, we were sitting in the evening together with representatives of IMC USA and Gabriel, and he said, okay, three of you can found an organization, we can grow up, we can develop the profession, we can attract more members, we can, go through all these steps to become a professional organization, to join all the consultants in Kazakhstan. And I was sitting and thinking, like, do I really need that? I mean, will we be able to do this? I don't know these two ladies, how we are going to do this, things like that. But yeah, and since that time in 2010, for the last more than 12 years, we're still together. We're still running our association. And when we lost Gabriel the same year, that was real shock. But I think that he inspired us, and he's still inspiring us. He joined us, and he actually motivated us, and we still feel that fuel, of his motivation. Um, I think this is a real leadership when you have a certain goal in your mind, when you have clear view of what you want to do, of what you want to achieve, and you can translate this to the other people. You can organize a very strong team, and that team will be able to do it with you or without you. I think this is the strongest motivation for us.
Thank you, Valentina, yeah, for remembering that story. And of course, I remember it very well too. And I remember how after the tragedy that happened, very quickly, in just a few days, you decided to actually start CMC Kazakhstan. And because I was not in the capacity to think straight or assist in any way, or even, but you, Galina, and Gulsum thought that this would be the best thing you could do under the circumstances to remember Gabriel, and you did it, and you've been doing it amazingly since then, growing so fast and having so much success. And already in the first year, in the first couple of years that you had the organization, you already showed a lot of achievement. And in fact, if you remember, of course you remember, in 2013, when we held our second conference, Consulting Without Borders, on Gabriel's birthday in February 1st, and that conference was in Bishkek in the Kyrgyz Republic. You received one of our first awards for excellence in consulting, specifically for your achievements in creating CMC Kazakhstan, attracting the members and working for your members' benefits. And I have just a brief video that I put together to remind you and all of us of that wonderful moment in 2013 back in Bishkek.
10 years ago, almost 10.
Thank you very much for this award. I have to confess that Gabriel actually was the person who inspired us to start joining consultants in Kazakhstan. And in fact, this is a result and this is a dream of all of us to create such an organization. And we actually believe that Gabriel is still with us.
Yes, it's great to see you and some of the other people who were with us at that time. Things change over the years, of course. Someone moves on and maybe is not involved anymore, but it's good to see all the old faces. But again, it's so amazing and so fascinating that you, Gulsum, and Galina, as a core of CMC Kazakhstan, continue to be together, creating excellence and helping consultants not only in Kazakhstan but in other Central Asian countries and beyond to be together, to become better, to get certified. And yeah, I just wanted to ask you in this regard, how did all that change you as a consultant? How did it help you, or perhaps made it more difficult in some ways because you got so many responsibilities now? Can you please, and I know you, as you said, you started as just an HR consultant. Has this added certain other areas to your specialization? So how did that change the life and work for you?
Yeah, of course, it changed dramatically, I would say, because when I got my certification, my CMC certification, at that time I was consulting only in the area of human resources management and development, and started researching the area of business process optimization and corporate strategy development. And you know, when you got certified, you feel yourself more confident, you feel yourself stronger, you feel yourself supported by your colleagues all around the world, because you got this expertise during the conferences, during different events. You can communicate with your colleagues, you can share information, you can, you know, exchange experience, and that of course make you even more stronger. That makes you feel I would say complete and you know, more stronger, because you can not only read the books, attend the trainings, but exchange real experience and expertise, which of course brings inside information, which is very difficult to get from theories and, you know, from all the other sources. And of course, being an individual consultant, it's very difficult to develop professionally. That's why when we invite our colleagues to join our chamber of management consultants, we always say the treasure which you can get from this network is it's very difficult to overestimate, because it's something which you cannot get from anywhere. You can cooperate with the other consultants. You can meet those people who have this experience, have this knowledge, who will share this knowledge with you in a very open manner, and this is a real treasure. That's why, since that time, since 2010, of course, being a member of this organization, I never feel myself like a real individual consultant, because I'm surrounded with all those professionals, and organizing different events, talking to different consultants, joining these international events. That makes us stronger, more professional, and of course, open our open our mind, open our borders. That's what is happening when you join a professional organization. I think that I hope that my colleagues will support me in this issue.
I'm sure. I'm sure that they will.
And of course, this is not just professional information. You just kind of doing this, doing some projects together, organizing some events, and it's like behavioral things. It's those things which you cannot read anywhere. You can just see it and feel it, and that makes a consultant stronger, professional.
I totally agree, and that's what I heard from other consultants who participated in our events and joined us, and also participated in our awards, that it is this collaboration that is really valuable, because just like you said, one person can be successful only to a certain extent, but of course, as a group, as a strong organization with very strong leadership, you can accomplish so much more for yourself and for your clients and for the community, the country, or the region, or the world altogether. And before we continue, I just wanted to acknowledge some people who are joining us today. I know I already saw some comments, and I mentioned Dinara Rahmatullaeva actually is joining us from Lawrence, Kansas, where she is, as I understand, is a visiting professor now. She is at the University of Kansas, with which we also have very close connections, because this is where Gabriel, studied. That's where he learned Russian, and that's where he got his bachelor's degree before he moved on to getting his master's and starting working as a consultant and in other capacities. So Dinara, thank you so much for joining. She is visiting there, and she's living there now, and she is actually from Almaty, Kazakhstan, and that's great that we have one more friend from Kazakhstan in Lawrence, Kansas. And also thank you to Tim Son, who is always joining our broadcast. He's joining us from Pennsylvania, where he lives, and he is actually the one who taught me how to do live streaming. He taught me the technical part. He inspired me to start this show, this monthly broadcast, and I'm always very thankful to Tim for all the great work that he's doing. We also have guests from Costa Rica. Otto Acuno is joining us from Costa Rica in the Americas. And I hope that more people will post as well where they're tuning in from. And Anya can post those on the screen so that we could see who is here and who is listening to us. And even if someone is not able to join us, I know our time is very limited, then all these broadcasts, they stay on the social media that we are now, streaming onto on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and our viewers can then watch it at any time later, and still continue asking questions and adding comments. So Valentina, as you talked about collaboration between consultants and how this makes your life as a consultant, richer, and how you participated in various events, especially at the time before COVID, where we didn't have to stay at home and where we could, travel easily. Now, I'm very thankful that this is all coming back, and hopefully we will be able to have our live events again sometime soon. But for a while it was all online, which is also not so bad. But when we did have the live events in the past, I just wanted to say that Valentina was also not just one of the organizers on the professional side, not only one of the consultants who contributed to the content of our events, but she was also, she's also a very talented person all around. And in our events, what we did, we invited our own consultants who participated to also show their personal, talents and contribute to the evening part of the program. And it was quite fascinating what we saw, what we had, and how talented these people who are excellent professionals are. And I just wanted to remind Valentina and all of us of some evenings back in 2012 and 2014, when we had our events in Almaty, Kazakhstan, and then in Kiev, in Ukraine. And Valentina is a great dancer, and she was always making our evenings so much brighter and more interesting by dancing. And I will ask Anya. I know Anya put a question there, but we will handle it let's say after the video. But let's play the video and just show one of actually two of the evenings after our Consulting Without Borders event in the past.
Now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll make it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way.
That was beautiful, and as we always say, talented person is talented in everything. Valentina is a great dancer, and it's not just a hobby, right, Valentina? You've been part of professional contests, and you've done so well.
Yeah, you know, when you don't, when you, if you didn't have an opportunity to dance when you was a child, you will always start doing this when you have such an opportunity when you're elder. So when I was a child, unfortunately, my parents decided that dancing is not for me because I was attending music school, music classes, and my parents were very strong, and that's why when I get elder, I decided now I can do anything I want, and I chosen this hobby, and it's still my hobby. I think I'm one of the eldest dancer in Kazakhstan, but yes, I participate in different um, championships among the same kind of level of dancers, and in pro-am system, professional amateurish system. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, this is very impressive. Well, I know I always enjoy watching your videos from your
Thank
dance
you.
competitions. And of course, your contribution to our events was always so great because, as I said, you didn't only join as a very successful consultant who brought a lot of good information and shared your experience with our participants, but in the evening you would be there in your beautiful dress dancing, and everybody would be going just like, wow. That was always. I wish you all the success in this area too, and I hope that you continue. Age is not an obstacle, I hope. So of course you can just continue for many more years and enjoy it, and bring enjoyment to others. Well, going back to consulting, I think I saw a question from Anya. She is asking, she's thanking you for all your insights, and she's wondering how you envision the future of consulting industry in Kazakhstan, in which direction you wish for it to develop.
Thank you for the question, Anya. Yeah, this question is actually very, very interesting because all these latest obstacles which surround Kazakhstan from not only political issues but economical issues as well, and technological development makes us to think about this, how consulting is going to develop, and which direction in consulting will be the most popular. So in my opinion, and according to different researchers, the same as all around the world, of course, technological consulting is going to be developed a lot in Kazakhstan as well. And technology will be included not only in the directions of consulting related to, for example, IT or engineering spheres, but in classical consulting, like strategic consulting or human resources management consulting or marketing or finance, we need to always think about the technological platform, how it's going to be used, and for how long the technology implemented today is going to serve a company. So the technological platform is going to be attached to any area of consulting. This is my opinion, my personal opinion. This is the first kind of direction. The second direction, I think that the companies which we work these days with. They think about sustainable development, and they are becoming more, how to say, осознанные. They think about the future of their business. They think about not only the financial issues of their business. They think about the impact which their business is going to make on the environment, on the society, on the economics. So they're becoming more conscious about that. That's why I think the consulting is also going to be more conscious and oriented on long-term issues, long-term impact on the society, on the environment, on the political, economic issues, not only the profit of a certain corporation. This is the second issue, particularly with younger companies, because the Y and Z generation managers, they think in a different way and they act in a different way compared to X generation, which I represent my personally. So this is the second trend, in my opinion. And the third big trend, in my opinion, is the SME consulting, of course. Because if, for example, 10 or 15 years ago, small and medium-sized enterprises, they thought that consulting is too expensive for them, that consulting is too difficult and unclear for them. Now, small and medium-sized enterprises are becoming more, how to say, they're interested in consulting, and they can afford consulting thanks to different development institutes, international development institutes, and local development institutes. Consulting became available, and I think that the business is becoming more and more active, proactive, and they are able to use consulting services. They are very keen to achieve big goals, and I think that the consulting for SMEs is becoming very popular in the areas of export, in area of financial development, financial sustainability, strategy development, all the areas of consulting. Because again, coming back to the first point, as far as technology is becoming more available, for example, market research is not that expensive now. And almost all the areas of consulting linked tightly to technology. That's why it's making consulting maybe even cheaper and more available for SMEs. Three trends, in my opinion.
Thank you very much. It's actually, we have Ron Finch joining here us from Italy. As I know, that's where he is. He is one of the directors of the foundation's board, and Ron is working in environmental. He is the environmental engineer, so he also worked in Kazakhstan, so he's deeply concerned with the issues of the environment and how it can be improved. So he's saying it is great point that the generation of the leaders of the companies have a great impact on the decisions made with respect to sustainability and the environment. This creates an exciting opportunity for consulting firms. And you just mentioned that you believe that one of the directions, one of the developments for specifically consulting in Kazakhstan should be the environment and environmental sustainability.
Absolutely.
Is that correct? Do you see any improvement in that area?
I think that it's not the right time to ask now about improvement, because the younger generation has started at least thinking about this and becoming more oriented toward ecological issues, sustainability issues. Long-term orientation is becoming a trend. And I'm really appreciated that trend, because compare again to the situation like 10 or 15 years ago, when our generation were leaders and they were only profit oriented, most of them. But now the situation is changing. I don't think that this change will be so quick and so rapid, but it is a trend. And I think more companies, bigger number of companies, bigger number of managers will look at that direction. And saving energy, using different types of energy, solar energy, wind energy is also becoming popular. It's not just, humanitarian trend. Of course not. Economical trend as well, because we do understand that resources are limited, and at some point we will just forced to think about that. Maybe that is also a reason, but it's not a bad reason. That's not a bad reason. And I think that particularly in Almaty, we feel these movements. We feel that people start changing their behavior. People start thinking about this, and not only thinking, but doing something different. The approach, the behavior is changing, definitely.
Oh, this is very encouraging. This is very good news, because Almaty specifically and Kazakhstan definitely needs more work in the area of sustainable and the environmental sustainability.
Yeah, because the city is really very polluted. And as I said before, we are forced to start thinking about this. And we think that we see that we don't have any other choice. Because if we don't start thinking about this today, then we will not have any tomorrow. It's very easy.
Thanks. Thank you for your response. We have a very interesting question from Otto, who is watching us from Costa Rica. He's asking, in your opinion, how clients have changed after the pandemic? In some countries, the expectations of clients about consultants have evolved as clients' own capabilities have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that? What are you seeing in Kazakhstan and in Central Asia and in other countries you're working in?
Thank you for your question, Otto. In fact, it's very interesting that after pandemic, companies would like to do the projects and trainings offline. We were so for such a long time we were closed and were sitting in front of our computers, so we missed being close to each other, and people started inviting all these external experts for different types of events, just to get closer, just to feel each other, see each other, I would say touch each other. So online trainings and online consulting is not more attractive anymore after pandemic. But in general, if you ask about the demand for consultancy, I think it's increasing after pandemic, definitely, because the economy is definitely growing after pandemic. All those spheres which suffered during the pandemic, they feel that they have new opportunities now, and they, of course, they use those opportunities which opened during the pandemic, all these distance things, but now they would like to keep that and create new opportunities. That's why they generated some assets to invest in consulting, and I see quite a big demand after pandemic for consulting.
Okay. Yes, thank you for your response. So basically, you're saying that with the fact that some clients' needs have changed, that has not impacted the need for consultancy and consulting services in a bad way. It's only for the better, right? So
yeah, that's probably my, again, personal opinion, because I didn't try to analyze the market as a whole, but what I see and what I can say about my colleagues, for example, in our chamber, the situation is the same. Everybody is so busy, and nobody is saying that the market is getting smaller. The market is growing, and many companies after the pandemic are trying to reach the same level or even bigger. And many, again, development institutes, they support SMEs. That's probably is one of the reasons why SMEs have an opportunity to use consulting services now.
all right, well, that's a good news. Going back to environmental sustainability, Ron, who is a specialist in that area, is asking, have you begun to see companies in Kazakhstan seek third-party environmental social governance assessment and accreditation as means to attract investment, as has been seen in Europe, Canada, and the US in the past couple of years? Do you see this happening? And what I understand from the question is that in order to attract investment, companies have to go through a certain certification specifically related to the environment and social governance.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that in Kazakhstan?
I think mostly not in Kazakhstan, but in other Central Asian countries. I think the number of that kind of companies is bigger, definitely, than in Kazakhstan.
So is it necessary in Central Asia to also is the need for this assessment increasing in Central Asia for companies to attract more investment?
I'm afraid I cannot answer to this question fully, because I'm not a specialist in this particular area. But the demand, as I see, and as my intuition say, that it's increasing, definitely, because it's becoming a trend not only for business, but the governments are also start thinking about this, because it's investment for the future of our countries. And of course, the demand is going to grow, definitely. And again,
All right.
I'm not a specialist, so it's just my personal opinion.
Perhaps we should bring here to our live stream Galina Artyukhina, your colleague, and the person who is specializing in
absolutely
environmental sustainability in Kazakhstan. So in one of our future broadcasts, we will definitely talk to Galina, because I'm also very interested to hear her view and also to learn about what's happening in Kazakhstan and in Central Asia in that regard. Otto is also saying in his next comment, starting to research about how consulting influence sustainability in clients, and I feel there is a gap between the concept of sustainability and the daily operational application. Your view? So people are very interested in sustainability issues, because we've had quite a few broadcasts in the past about sustainability. So I know it's not your direct area of expertise, perhaps, but maybe you can still talk about it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. If I correctly understand, Otto, you mean that they kind of speak about sustainability, but in fact they think about daily operations, right? And that's true. In fact, that's true, because the terminology itself is understood in a different way. That's absolutely true. And not all the companies who invite consultants for operational management consultant or any other area of consultant, not all of them think about sustainability. Of course not. Of course not. It's just a trend, in my opinion. It's just a light, maybe small, but trend. And in future, it's going to grow. But of course, the number of companies thinking about their daily operations, about short-term goals, the number of these kind of companies is much, much bigger still. But what I'm saying is that compared to 10 or 15 years ago, the number of companies thinking about future, about sustainable future, is increasing, and this is a strong trend. Even though in the whole number of projects, it's probably a very small portion, but the share is getting bigger. This is what I'm wanted to say. Only that.
Okay, well, this is a good news, and I hope that companies do take this seriously, because we are at the point in our life on this earth that this is one of the most important topics of survival. And yeah, I hope the gap between just thinking about this and following it as a trend and actually implementing certain things in the company's operations, that gap will get smaller as companies really adopt certain procedures and ways to become more sustainable and environmentally friendly, and big companies as well as small companies. And in that way, the role of the consultants is very important, because consultants are catalysts for change. And when consultants understand the need, they can, of course, project it to their clients and make them also think in the same direction.
Yeah, I think that, why companies start thinking about sustainable development, it's not only because they are so nice and they are so bright and things like that. In some cases, their clients insist on them, because the clients themselves, the consumers, becoming more sustainable oriented. They start thinking about their future and future of the new generations, right? So the society as a whole is changing. The values are changing, and that's why some companies like forced to start thinking of that. In some cases, of course, it's their own inner kind of driven things, but in some cases, it's just an external environment which is forcing them to start changing their attitude to the environment.
All right. Well, I hope that, I hope that the mentality is also changing, because I think the companies and the consultants should be ahead of all this, and hopefully not just waiting for the demands from their clients, but kind of maybe impose certain things on how things should be done. But that's just my opinion. I know it's hard. I know that companies also have to think about their survival and their daily operations. They have to pay the bills, they have to pay their employees, and sometimes it's not that simple. And in that way, the role of management consultants is becoming even more important, even more critical, so that they can show companies how they can survive, plus become more sustainable and contribute to our future together. I know, Valentina, that you are a highly acclaimed trainer and coach, and that you go from one country to another. You've done a lot of trainings for companies, right, or for consultants. And I'm just wanted you to talk a little bit about this, maybe share some of your experience of you know, how it goes in different countries, where you go, what are the needs, and yeah, just talk a little bit more about you as a trainer,
Okay.
business trainer.
Again, when I graduated from my business school, was in 1996. I started doing trainings, so I have quite a big experience in conducting training for businesses. But again, thanks to Gabriel, he was the person who first recommended me to EBRD to become a trainer for consultants. And since 2009, I started conducting trainings for consultants in the countries of operations of EBRD. These days, most of the trainings I conduct in Central Asia for different consultants. Recently, for example, I conducted a training for co-consultancy skills for IT consultants and engineering consultants. And this was very interesting. That was because, you know, they particularly IT consultants and engineering consultants in our countries, they still do not position themselves as consultants. They are professionals, they are experts, they are specialists, but in fact, they are consultants. And we need to change the client's attitude to technological consulting, because you know, it's a very usual things when client companies buy some software or some engineering stuff, and they think that they buy the tangible product. But consulting is attached to that tangible product, and it's a separate service which should be separately paid and which should be separately considered as a service. But not so many clients understand and realize that they do not separate the product from the consulting. But in fact, in some cases, the product is cheaper than the consulting attached to that project, you know. And that's why I think that my role is to help the engineering consultants, IT consultants, those consultants who do a great job to position themselves as consultants and to market their services as consulting services. In that case, the companies will not just make a choice based on the price, but they will be able to use professional consulting services to make a right choice based on the professional research, professional, you know, suggestions and advice. Otherwise, the clients pays twice, because they buy cheap, for example, I don't know, software, and then they need to change it in a year or even less, because they did a choice which is not applicable for their goals, you know. That's why it's challenge to me. I mean,
so this has been your recent job to
that's
actually.
That's why I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, well, Nurzat Abdurasulova is here with us, and she's hosting from Kyrgyzstan, I understand, or maybe I know she's been traveling lately, maybe from another country, but she says greetings to both you and me, and thanking us for this talk, and thanking you also for doing a great job for consultancy development. And well, we have some more comments coming in. Let's let's read those. So Otto is saying that there was a very interesting comment. I've had the case of clients thinking that the implementation and change management associated to technology come into the box included and was not a separate service. So that's what you were talking about. There is a product and there is the service, and
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you, Otto, for your comment. And Ron again, large businesses with experience and the luxury of larger budgets, consider their consultants as partners in their success. This approach often leads to sufficient funding to allow the consultants to assist with both projects and ongoing support and maintenance through approved funding. So I guess Ron is talking from his experience working with perhaps larger businesses.
Yeah, as for the larger businesses, of course, it's so nice to work with large businesses, when they understand what they want, when they understand what is consulting, when they understand how consultants can really help to go further than and faster, But in fact, in our countries, and as for me myself, I usually work with SMEs, and this is an absolutely different story. Absolutely.
Right,
And
but I think it's a very important work, and that's what Gabriel was so deeply involved in, starting in early 2000 when. Because the whole point of the business advisory services that he was heading was to connect consultants and small businesses and help small businesses actually hire consultants. And in that way,
absolutely.
and I hope the EBRD is still working in this direction, because we all know that large companies have their budgets, but it's the small companies that often make more change and are so very important.
Absolutely. And these days, we can not only EBRD, but USAID is also helping SMEs, and they also organize similar program for SMEs who would like to use consulting services. And in our case, consultants who work for SMEs in our countries, we need to, first of all, create the market and somehow teach the clients to be a client, and then to sell our services to that educated clients, because the clients in our countries, I think that this situation is similar in different companies, in different countries as well. When the client, he is not quite understand. So you're a consultant, so what are you going to do? You're going to just sit and talk to me and tell what is wrong with my company, or you're going to come to my company to manage the situation. How it's going to be as a process? What is consulting? They, in most of the cases, they just don't have a clue about what is consulting. That's why, first of all, we educate our clients, we teach them, we prepare the client, and then we come to the client's company and start doing our consultancy.
All right. Well, Anya had a comment. She said, thank you for sharing your thoughts on the development of sustainability consulting in Kazakhstan. And it's nice to hear that it's going in the positive direction. Anya is very focused on sustainability. And again, we have done quite a few episodes speaking on sustainability consulting in Central Asia and in other countries. So this is a hot topic. But thank you, Valentina. Thank you for sharing your experience working as just an individual consultant, and then growing to become a leader and the founder of a very successful Chamber of Management Consultants in Kazakhstan, which has an impact not only in Kazakhstan, but in all of the Central Asia region, and which is a very good example for other countries in the area and beyond to perhaps learn and follow your example. So this is great work. Thank you so much. Thank you also for your time today. And I would like to say that our next episode will be held on November 1st. As again, it happens on the first day of each month at the same time. We announce it as 13-hour or 1 p.m. GMT, or whichever hour it is in your country. So please tune in, join us, and ask questions. Put your comments on social media. So thank you again to Valentina. Thank you to Anya for helping with the technical part of this broadcast. Thank you to all of you for joining us, for staying with us through this broadcast. Have a great day wherever you are, and we'll see you in 1 month. Goodbye.
Thank you for inviting
Goodbye
me.
for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for interesting session, Ota says from Costa Rica. Thank you so much, Ota. We'll see you next time in 1 month. Goodbye, everyone.